In today's video, we talk about me joining a Blood Bowl league. So I'm joining the Blood Bowl league. It's going to be my first league. I've never had the opportunity to do a Blood Bowl league before, and I've really only ever played 2 games of Blood Bowl. So Blood Bowl really piqued my interest back in August of 2018 when Barnes & Noble came out with this little ditty called Blitz Bowl. Now, Blitz Bowl is a board game version of Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl being the game from the 80s by Games Workshop, which is a miniatures football, American football style game where it's what they call the original fantasy football. So it's literal fantasy football in the sense that you're playing either an orc team or an elven team or a dwarf team against other teams in a game of Americanized style of football where you either win by scoring more points or by destroying the other team. In August of 2018, Barnes & Noble teamed up with Games Workshop and came out with this game, Blitz Bowl, which is a board game version of Blood Bowl. It's scaled down to about 30 minutes, plays very much like a board game and less like a miniatures tabletop game. But when I picked this up in August of 2018, I got very excited because inside of this box also included not only the humans and the orcs that you see on the cover here, but it had cards which allowed you to buy expansion teams or other teams that were out in the Blood Bowl world for the Blitz Bowl game, such as halflings, elves, dark elves, chaos, rat men, known as Skaven. So I started looking into the Blood Bowl world, and that's when I picked up a copy of Blood Bowl, the actual board game. The miniatures game, Blood Bowl, that's played on a board with grids. So that was September of 2018. I take it with me to Atlanta, Georgia, where I go to Dragon Con with my buddy Rob. So Rob and I played about a half game of Blood Bowl in Atlanta, and I was trying to get the rules down and understand the concept. It felt very luck-driven, which I'm okay with. I'm very much okay with the luck-driven game. But we didn't get it to the table again. That was 2018 into 2019, and my acquisition disorder that I have was in full gear. I was buying teams for orcs and teams for the Elven Union. I bought extra orcs because I wanted to have an orc team, and I was assembling models and beginning to paint and to touch them up and kind of think about playing Blood Bowl, but still not really playing Blood Bowl yet. So in about a couple months ago, I purchased on the Xbox Blood Bowl 2 for Xbox. I also have it on Steam and began playing a lot of matches because I found that the rules of the Blood Bowl miniatures game, which is played on a tabletop using 11 miniatures per team, are the same rules that's used in the Xbox or Steam version called Blood Bowl 2. So I learned a lot about the game, how the game works, the strategy of the game, by playing the Xbox. So I thought, okay, I got the rules down. I'm ready to go into the real world of Blood Bowl out there with the people. So at that point is when I reach out to the Blood Bowl community here in Tampa, Florida. I set up my first game at Armada Games, and I play against a fellow by the name of Jim, and he has a Skaven team, and I'm playing the orcs, and he runs me through a whole game, introduces me to how it works, how it plays, makes sure that I'm playing with the right set of rules and understanding the concepts as we went. And not only that, at the end of the game, he gives me some of his swag that he's acquired from other tournaments, as well as he gives me a neoprene dugout for my team. I mean, that's pretty cool. I really appreciated that. That got me excited about playing more Blood Bowl. I picked up some extra Blood Bowl pitches, so fields out of vinyl mats, and I took one up to the shop this last month where I played against a guy by the name of Brian, and Brian and I played a version of Blood Bowl called Sevens, which is played with less figures on a smaller pitch, so it's a faster game, but it really drove my desire to continue playing Blood Bowl, he talked to me about some of the teams that he's had in the past and some of the leagues that he's played in and how he watched his team grow. And as I played the game, as my players on the table were completing plays and making touchdowns and they were tackling other opponents, he was describing how in the league version of the game, each of those players would individually begin collecting points, and they would then use those points to upskill themselves, to add skills, and to increase their statistics on how the actual player, the miniature on the board does. And that really got me interested in the league. So I'm very excited because starting at the end of this month at Armada Games here in Tampa, Florida, they're having a league, the first league of 2020. I've decided I'm going to play in my first league of Blood Bowl. So I thought I'd vlog about it. I'd share with you my experience of joining a Blood Bowl league, building a team, and then putting that team to compete with others and watching them grow. So I'm going to share that with you. I'm kind of in between two different teams right now. I'm deciding on whether to go with an orc team, which is, from what I'm told, a very good starter team. It's a good starter team to have because they tend to knock down other opponents easily and don't get knocked down as easily. So they're a little more forgiving for a newer player like me. But I also am interested in the dwarf team. The dwarves, I've always played a dwarf character in Dungeons & Dragons when I was younger, as well as anytime we play a dungeon crawl or any game that involves miniatures, I'm always seeking out the dwarf. So I picked up a dwarf team. So I'm looking at the dwarf team as an option as well. I'm finding that their figures or each of their players are much more expensive than you would find on a regular team like a orc team or a human team. But that's because they come with more skills. The dwarf players come with the block skill, the majority of them. The linemen automatically come with the block skill. And the block skill is a very important skill in the Blood Bowl game, which helps them to knock down others easier and to not get knocked down as easy in this game of Blood Bowl. So I'm going to figure out by the end of this week which team I'm going to end up playing with. I'm a little bit siding towards the orcs because all of last year I spent my time painting. So as you can see here, and maybe you can't, but I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. These are some of the orcs that I've been painting this year, and I've really enjoyed doing that. And I haven't put any paint to the dwarves yet, so I'm trying to figure out which team I want to play with, but we'll see. So starting end of this month, I'm going to be in a Blood Bowl league, and I'm going to share that with you, how it goes, so you can see the newbie's perspective on entering into a miniatures game. So subscribe, follow, and thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
You're listening to the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about how we game.